As Rachel mentioned, tomorrow morning a judge will hold the first of what will almost certainly be many hearings on the settlement of Prince's estate. As for the investigation into Prince's death, that is likely to continue for several weeks. The Carver County Sheriff's Office has said after all the evidence is collected, and likely when the autopsy is complete, they will review the case with the county attorney to see if any laws were broken and possibly if anyone will face charges. Joining us now to talk about the legal issues surrounding the death investigation and also the estate, Attorney Joe Tamburino. Thank you so much for coming in.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Let me ask you, late last week, a judge sealed the search warrant in the death investigation. What does that suggest to you?
That it's a criminal investigation. What happens is, as soon as the authorities say we're going to be investigating a crime, the data practices kick in under the law enforcement portion, which says anything involved in an active criminal investigation is going to be kept from the public for the most part. So that's what it signifies to me.
All right, so you believe this is already a criminal investigation?
Yes, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to result in a criminal charge, but right now they're handling it as a criminal investigation.
All right, let's talk about the criminal consequences, the legal consequences for somebody who is either obtaining opioids, and we don't know how Prince died, there are a lot of reports out there, but let's just talk in general, the legal consequences of somebody who is obtaining opioids fraudulently, or somebody who gives or sells opioids to somebody else.
Sure. Let's take the latter first. If you have opioids, like say I fraudulently get some type of oxycodone and I give them to you, that's a risk that you're going to misuse them and you're going to die from them, which means I could be guilty of third-degree murder. Third-degree murder is I give you a controlled substance that I have no right in doing, I'm not a doctor, and you use them and you die. If that happens, I could be guilty of third-degree murder.
Even if you don't sell them, even if you just give them?
That's correct,
okay.
Because under the legal definition of sale, sale also includes giving it away.
What if you obtain it fraudulently?
Well, you're going to also have violations there. The law is very clear. When you get a prescription, if you alter that prescription or if you fraudulently obtain it, you're going to be charged with a felony.
And how about for prescribers?
For prescribers, it's a little bit different. Then you get into sort of like the Dr. Conrad Murray situation with Michael Jackson. A doctor, a physician would have to be so negligent in giving the drugs that they would be guilty of a second-degree manslaughter. It's very difficult.
Okay. Let's turn now to the estate, because amongst the extraordinary news the past couple of weeks, Prince did not have a will, he didn't have a trust. How sticky could this get, and how long do you think it's going to take to settle this? Very
sticky and a very long time. That's the short answer. Because right now what has to happen on Monday is the judge has to take control, and no matter how long the hearing is, has a full itinerary of what needs to be covered. Right now the special administrator has got his arms around the situation, but eventually there would be a personal representative. And then you have people coming out of the woodwork, like this person from California. Though I think that's going to be problematic for the person in California.
Yeah, there is a person in California, who has filed a claim on the estate claiming he owns all of Prince's music because he says he and the singer had a verbal agreement going back to the 1990s.
Right, and he's really not going to have a leg to stand on, and here's why. Everyone understands contracts, if you decide to sell something and you buy it, but with copyright law, with music, that needs to be in writing. It's under the statute of frauds. So unless it's in writing, he's not going to have proof.
One of the complicating factors I think most people think is likely to be this vault that apparently has hundreds of unpublished Prince recordings and music videos. What about that? What does that do to the value of the estate, or might there be some wishes that Prince didn't want this release? How do you think that's going to pan out?
Two things. It increases the value of the estate immensely, and it also increases the number of people who are going to be interested in that estate. Because think about it, you could have another Purple Rain in that vault that someone could produce later on. And that's going to be up to the estate to do. So obviously this estate's going to grow in time.
How long and how costly is this estate settlement process going to be?
I would think it's going to be long and pretty costly. I mean, you've got to think of it this way. Personal representatives, special administrators, attorneys, all these bills are going to come due. On the other hand, we're dealing with an estate that's probably worth $300, $400, $500 million. Could be more than that. So the estate's going to be able to afford the professional services as well as pay hefty taxes.
All right. Well, Joe Tamburino, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.